Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we're checking out a new knife from ORION Knives, and this thing is awesome. I love this thing. I really like this. This is the Aries, and this is designed by David, and David is also the owner or whatever person of Blade Banter on YouTube. So if you want to check out his YouTube channel, Blade Banter, and then ORION Knives, and you can check out ORION Knives also on Instagram. Now, let's get to this guy. My goodness, did they do a good job with this thing. So it has an awesome locking system. I mean, what's really cool about it, the blade shape, the handle, the ergos, everything complements each other. This to me is an amazing work knife. Another thing, the lockup is just like a damn bank vault. I mean, you would think it was a fixed blade. And it's because it's a compression lock. You know, it's I guess a pivot button compression lock. So that wedges in behind this giant, look at that stop pin. Big O stop pin, nice thick liners. Love to see that. They definitely went for some toughness here, which I do appreciate big time. So nice solid lockup, no side to side, no up and down. I've already spine whacked the hell out of it. This thing is great. And then look at this, just whop right down. And then this fuller it has the perfect amount of access. It is so fidget friendly. Like it's super satisfying to flick this thing. I mean, you can flick it in any way. That time I hit the table, but you can flick it any way you want. You can also use the pivot to swing it out. This thing is super fidget friendly, man. I mean, just absolutely crazy fidgety. The blade, to the good stuff, right? To the good stuff. The blade and handle complement each other perfectly. Like I said, this is an amazing work knife. We have a 14C 28N drop point dual ground American Tonto where the tip is lower than the center of the pivot. That means that this tip is not only going to be the primary tip instead of the secondary tip, but it's going to be, well, this is to be the primary, this would be secondary, but in many cases with Tontos, you use this as the primary, even though it is the secondary. My point is that this one is it's like using a spear point, a drop point, even like a sheep's foot in some ways. This is like a claw. Like you can just use it for a utility cut really well. That arch allows the tip to go right down into something. I really like that. And you can see there's a lot of stability in that spine, in the thickness here. Now you have the secondary tip, which is also very sharp. Nice pronounced secondary tip with a nice hollow grind, very thin geometry. And then the ergos. The handle has this peel ply G10 that is nice in the hand, nice and grippy. If your hand was wet, you're going to be just fine. It's not going to slip, but it is so comfortable and so neutral. It doesn't matter what grip you have it in, it's going to be comfortable. Then you have this lip right here on both sides. If you look, you probably can't see it. See how it has that lip, and that lip that stops you from slipping up the blade. Like if I jammed this into something, I have zero chance of slipping up the blade, unless if I was foolish. It does have a titanium milled pocket clip with T8 hardware all the way around, and the clip is reversible. Love to see the T8 hardware all the way around. And man, that stop pin being so big, no detent lash. That detent brake, man, the brake from the detent is nice. That's the one thing why, and this is why I was raving and screaming that companies should have done this lock. I was screaming that people should do this lock way before any one of these companies did it. And I'm not trying to take credit or anything. It's just, it was obvious to me that this was going to be an amazing lock if other companies were using it, meaning the compression lock. And then, having it, and I said a button compression lock, I never imagined it being with the pivot and everything, but you can, there's lots of ways to do something. So really happy we're seeing this locking system become so popular, because it is a very reliable locking system. It's a super strong locking system, and so on and so on and so on. And technically, to be honest, if you had issues with it, let's say like this thing did start getting some up and down, 1,000,000% you can take this thing apart and strengthen the lock. just like a liner lock. That's the beauty of a liner lock. And it's basically just a reverse liner. Instead of the liner going right underneath the tang, it wedges itself in between the stop pin and the tang of the blade, making it even stronger than any conventional, like a lot stronger. But it still allows you to manipulate it if you need to. You can strengthen it, you can weaken it, you can increase the detent on it. I have videos on this, guys. If you guys want to watch a video on how to strengthen your detent or how to get rid of lock rock or blade rock or anything like that, tons of videos. I think I even have shorts on it. I think I recently posted one. I'm not sure if it went up or not. Perfectly centered. Like I said, it's like the ultimate work knife to me. At least it's really, really damn close. I might have to put together a new work knife video now, because I just recently, came upon a couple really good work knives, and I think that would make a great video, like the top 5 best work knives. Because when you consider work knives, like, of course, I'd love to recommend Benchmades and Hogues and Spydercos, but the reality is, most guys using work knives, especially through labor, are not using those knives. They're using under $60 knives, usually under 50, but at the very least under 100. So you typically want to give them stuff in that range so they can break it and not be too worried about it if they lose it. Now, of course, if you spend between $60 and $100 on a knife, you're going to take care of it a lot more than you're going to take care of a $3 gas station knife. However, if something did happen, it's not like something where it's like you lost $300-400 or something. Now, that being said, there are some workers that still do like to carry a high quality pocket knife. And just speaking of that, my best friend, I gave him a Spyderco Para 3 in Maximate steel. And he was using it for a long time. And he was like, man, that thing stayed sharp forever. Because I told him, I said, don't abuse it. Don't, just cut normal stuff with it. Save your utility blade, because he has a utility blade, for like cutting aluminum and stuff like that. And he had it forever. And then he wound up dropping it down a wall. So he was doing concrete, doing a wall, and, goodbye. You ain't getting that back. It's down, like, because it's such a far, trench down. He wasn't going to be able to fit down there because it was already built. So, it was gone. So anyways, the point is that things like that happen on a job site. So he's now carrying a drop bear, and then I just recently gave him another knife. I forget what it was, but both of them are still good knives. He's still carrying a good quality knife. And to me, I'm not even worried about it. I expected that to happen. But with something like this is going to work so well for anybody on the job. And for anybody, period, like even for EDC, for tactical purposes, like I could see this just being, that's the beautiful thing about a work knife. That means if it's a good work knife, that means it's good for like anything, basically. That means it's a tactical knife. It's a hard use knife. I guess not always a hard use knife, because there are some work knives that I would consider good slicers. Like if you work in a factory and you're cutting boxes and straps and plastic all day, then yeah, you typically want more edge retention related slicier knives, not so tough. But when you're doing like construction and stuff, you need something that has a good balance. But anyways, I'm rattling. There you guys go. I don't have any complaints except for one. Just one complaint. The sharpened tool and plunge grind. You guys already knew that was coming. If I sharpen it, I'm going to hit the plunge grind. Now, luckily, there's nothing in the way. No, there's nothing in the way for me to cut in my own choil if I want to. So, because the stop pin lands way under here. So, if I want to, I could cut in a choil, or I could just leave it and let it grind into there, and then eventually cut in one right there. Not a big deal, but, it is something that I would prefer to have just had a perfect sharpening tool and plunge grind from the factory. But can't win them all, and this one's so damn good that, hell, I'll take it. Work hard, stay tough, until next time, peace!